Hello and welcome back to Sonny Talk Spurs, and today we're going to be asking the question, what if Harry Kane had stayed at Tottenham Hotspur this season? But before we get into this one, if you are new to the channel, why don't you leave a like on the video, subscribe to Sonny Talk Spurs and hit that notification bell because it'll let you know when I've gone live. And also, in the link in the description down below, you can become a member of Sonny Talk Spurs and get exclusive access to my weekly podcast, Nice One Sonny. Get your questions down below for this week's podcast as well to feature in the Q&A section. But without further ado, let's answer that all-important question. This video comes off the back of the weekend's result for Bayer Leverkusen against Bayern Munich. I saw the game, I saw the highlights, and Leverkusen absolutely whitewashed Bayern. It was an embarrassment. I just couldn't get over what I was seeing before my eyes. And, you know, after seeing that, I think Xabi Alonso is pretty nailed on to replace Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. But we're not talking about that today. We're talking about the other team that was on the field, Bayern Munich. 3-0 losers. Eric Dyer at the back, you know, after going over to Bayern and embarrassing them and, you know, making sure we signed Radu Dragusin under their nose, we ended up giving them Eric Dyer on loan, which probably will become a permanent, to be Harry Kane's mate. And he was terrible, you know. Watching him against Leverkusen was like watching him against Wolves this season, and I think that's the only notable game he played in because Ange Postecoglou realised he is not a Tottenham Hotspur player or good enough to play for this football club. So at the same time, we were beating Brighton in the 96th minute in dramatic fashion. A couple of hours later, Bayern Munich were losing. And now in the Bundesliga, and I'll put the table on screen now as it stands, Bayern are 5 points behind Leverkusen. Leverkusen sit top and they're racing away, you know, have not lost a game in the German league. And Bayern have been stuttering and starting. So the main question from this is, did Harry Kane do the right thing? Because, you know, the question's been going around my head. I thought about it the other week when they, you know, had that dramatic loss in the league. But, you know, with this title game and how it was so pivotal, and I believe he only had like 18 touches, Harry Kane, in the game. I saw an article on TalkSport saying 18 touches. You know, my dad even said another big game and Harry Kane hasn't turned up, you know, like the finals he did at Tottenham, but that's a bit of banter. But it does make it quite interesting reading that, you know, Harry Kane did go to Bavaria to win trophies. And this season so far, it's, you know, he's scored the goals. He scored a lot of goals. He's been breaking records and has been the talisman. You know, Bayern haven't had a striker of that calibre since Robert Lewandowski. And he sort of took the mantle. And, you know, he's been good. He's got better out of, like, Leroy Sané, for example. But the reason I've come to this conclusion is when you look at it, they're 5 points behind in the title race, and Leverkusen don't look like they're stopping anytime soon. They just keep winning. They got knocked out of the DFB Pokal to that lower league side that the name beats me, but, you know, that was in the second round or something like that, so that weren't good. And then they lost the Super Cup at the beginning of the year. You know, the day after he left Tottenham, he had the chance to win a trophy, and they lost 3-0 to RB Leipzig. The Champions League's not a given. You know, a lot of people are saying Bayern are one of the favourites, but when you look at it, Real Madrid look very good under Carlo Ancelotti. Manchester City are still up there. Arsenal, I mean, it pains me to say it, but Arsenal, I think, have probably a better chance than Bayern Munich. They've got to play Lazio this week, and that's not going to be an easy tie. You know, Lazio are the type of team who could, you know, make an upset in that competition. So, if you think about it, in that first season where he could have won, you know, he could have won a treble if he wanted to, it seems just like they're stuttering. And, you know, I think Thomas Tuchel might be the reason for that. Him and the board at Bayern are not really getting along all too well. But it just makes it interesting that, you know, Harry Kane, you know, he stood by Nuno Espirito Santo and said, yes, I'm keen for your project. And he got persuaded into Jose's and Antonio Conte's project. And you even think about it, like last year, he scored 30 goals in that Antonio Conte side. And you just think, what would he have scored this season? You know, to go to Bayern Munich in the way he did, you know, we got the most money out of him. We sold him to Bayern Munich with a year left on his contract for nearly 100 million, which was a good deal in the end. And he, like many football fans, thought he would be picking up, some trophies this season. And, it's still not over. It's not over until it's over. But it's getting, the avenue's getting shorter. It's not looking as simple as it could have. And I just think, if he'd stayed at Tottenham under this current manager, Ange Postecoglou, playing the football that we are, he could have been, we could have done something special this season. I actually, going bold, think we could have been in the title race and given some of the top teams a right going, because they've had blips. But just think about, Richarlison is having a good season. Some went off to the Asian Cup. If Kane was on the end of some of these chances we're creating, I dread to think the number of goals he got. I said 30 goals last year. He could have beaten the Premier League record. It sounds like bold stuff, but think about the chances we're putting away if Kane was on the end of them, working in tandem with Son, with James Maddison, with Kulusevski, with Brennan Johnson, with Timo Werner. You look at like the Brighton game, for example. People saying, it wasn't the best result, in the we still weren't amazing, but we were creating chances. We just weren't finishing our dinner. And the proof in the pudding was the Richarlison effort where he goes through and he's one-on-one with the keeper. Kane puts that away every day of the week, like Haaland did this weekend. So it's just something to think about, really. Like, I know it's all hypothetical, but it makes me think. Everyone says about his legacy as well. What is it worth going over to Bayern, winning maybe? He could just win Bundesligas. What is that worth it? Does that make him the player that he won the trophies? It's whereas like this season, he could have helped us maybe get past Manchester City in the fourth round. He could have helped us beat Fulham in the Carabao Cup and go on a cup run in that competition. He could have helped us in the Premier League to secure top four and bring Champions League football back to Tottenham at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But it's interesting. I just think with the Bayern Munich stuff, as I say, it's not a given. They could go on and win the Champions League, and then you think, yeah, it's all worth it. But I just wanted to pose the what if question. What if he had stayed? What if, would it have helped? Has it helped his legacy going? Would it have benefited his legacy staying and actually pushing on, beating the Premier League all-time goal-scoring record as well? Because I still think Kane is highly touted, even without a trophy. People debate him in the top strikers in Premier League history still, like Luis Suarez is. So he has still got that backing. It's just Bayern Munich, not so sure. Maybe him and the club signing Eric Dyer hasn't helped because he has looked harrowing at the back for them. But just a thing to pose. So let me know in the comments down below. How do you think it would have gone, if Kane had stayed at the football club? Could we have achieved a lot more this season? And in the next couple of years under Ange Postecoglou, could Kane come back? Do you think Kane would come back in the future? And do you think Bayern Munich are going to win a trophy this year? Do you think I'm wrong? If you think I'm waffling and chatting a load of rubbish, just let me know in the comments down below and we can debate it a little. But that's it for today's video. I just wanted to pose that question. But if you have enjoyed it, why don't you leave a like on the video, subscribe to Sonny Talk Spurs and hit that notification bell because it'll let you know when I've gone live. And also, as I said at the beginning, in the link in the description down below, you can become a member of Sonny Talk Spurs and get exclusive access to my podcast, Nice One Sonny. Get your questions down below for that as well. This week's episode on the Q&A section. And until next time, have a good evening, have a good day, and I'll see you again pretty soon. And a ciao.